Next matchup.
Let's go.
Next matchup that I have listed down is Arsenal facing off against Bayern Munich. What was your reaction, man? Just when you saw the draw, when you saw the results, and you saw that Arsenal is slated to face off against Germany's finest in a massive, massive quarterfinal matchup for Arsenal. One of the biggest games, if not the biggest game for them in the past 10 plus years, man.
This is my favorite fixture out of all the four. Obviously biased for Atletico, and that'll be the one where I either cry or leap in excitement. But as far as an unbiased point of view, this is definitively my favorite fixture, and it's just because the offense that both of these teams possess might be, when it's in its most open, the best in Europe for either side. Arsenal, you have Manchester City, Liverpool in the league, but this season, Arsenal, when they're on it, low-key play the sexiest offensive style football in England. And I don't even want to have any arguments for that. Liverpool and Manchester City have been really good offensively this year, but Arsenal, man, my goodness, the way they attack. It's brilliant to watch when they're on it. And for Bayern Munich, they average right now in the Bundesliga 3 goals a game.
3 burgers?
3.
Damn.
They have 78 goals in 26 matches.
Good
literally
Lord.
3 on the dot.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And this calendar year specifically, the goals have really opened up for Bayern Munich. But I just think this game's going to be so different than the matches that both Arsenal and Bayern previously had in the round of 16, because both Bayern and Arsenal are just going to go at each other. I think this is going to be probably the most open game. It's going to be end-to-end because Bayern and Arsenal are both at their individual best when it's just full-on offense. So I'm really excited to see how this game pans out. They have to outscore one or the other. And I'm just really excited just purely for the offense that's going to be on display for this match.
The offense and the stage, man. The first game is going to be at the Emirates, so Arsenal will open this matchup hosting it. Second game will be at the Allianz Arena. I do think that plays a big factor as well.
For sure.
Mikel Arteta facing off against Thomas Tuchel in this head coaching matchup, and I mean the names on paper are ridiculous. You have Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, Musiala, Davies, Kimmich, Martinelli, Gabriel Saliba, Coman, Kim Min-jae, and Upamecano. This is going to be an incredible matchup. It's going to be incredible, and I'm already starting. I've been talking to Arsenal fans, whether it's through Instagram DMs or in person, and man, the nerves for this matchup, because going into this, I do feel that historic weight, especially for Arsenal fans. Bayern has been here time and time again for the past 20 fucking years, man. But for Arsenal, they've been trying to make a name for themselves once again that matches the heights that they reached in those early 2000s with guys like Thierry Henry leading them on deep Champions League runs. And now this is the first team that's been able to do it in so long, and they're leading the Premier League at the same time.
Yep.
It's a magical time right now in London, but I do think that the nervousness does come from just this machine-like approach that Bayern has to this tournament. And more than anything, is it the fact that in this matchup, is Arsenal the favorite to win it?
That's what I love about this matchup too. Besides the technical quality on the pitch, the external narratives are so intriguing. Arsenal, when you look at this team, it's the first time they've reached the quarterfinals since 2010. Do you know how long that is? It's been so long. When you look at all other 7 teams in the quarterfinals, they've all reached the quarterfinals more recently than top of the Premier League table Arsenal right now, which is pretty ridiculous. So you look at the top 8, Arsenal have the least experience, and low-key, I would build them as the underdog in all of the quarterfinals for the UEFA Champions League. It makes it that much more exciting because they have such talent going forward. Yeah. They might be able to fulfill a crazy narrative by beating European giants Bayern Munich and booking themselves a ticket to the semi-final. And their first time making the quarterfinals in over 12 years. That's a ridiculous narrative. And beyond that, when you look at the starting 11 that Mikel Arteta puts out, there's no winners. None of them have really won a title except for Jorginho.
Wow.
He is the only one. And Declan Rice won a Conference League last year with West Ham. I'll give him that.
Proudly.
I'll definitely give him that. But beyond that, bro, I mean, Raya was with Brentford last year.
Yeah.
You know, Kivior, Gabriel, Saliba. Dude, these guys just hit the scene last year with Arsenal. Kai Havertz, too, as well. Like, it's kind of crazy. All of these guys are coming into form with Arsenal, who have just reached the quarterfinal stage for the first time in a very long time.
Hey, Zinchenko, give some respect.
Okay, that's true.
That's the only one I can think of him.
He's a winner for sure. But I just love that. These guys are fully inexperienced. When you look at their opponents, though, Bayern Munich, I mean, Harry Kane, Eric Dyer, maybe they haven't won anything, but they were just in the Champions League final, 4 or 5 years ago. You look at Thomas Muller, one of the definition of a veteran in modern football. Yeah. He's seen it literally all, and he's also won it all. And then you have guys like Joshua Kimmich, Leon Goretzka, who just won it with Bayern Munich a couple years ago. You can say the same veteran thing about Manuel Neuer as well.
Davies?
Alphonso Davies, absolutely. Kim Min-jae won the Serie A with Napoli. Bayern Munich, for as weird as they've been this season, still have a crop of players that are used to winning big matches. That's why I'm excited about this match, because you just have two completely opposite teams narratively.
And that's why my next question is, who deserves to go through? Based off the season that we've seen,
right?
Arsenal leading the toughest league in the entire world and playing some sexy football when they're at it, ending games by the 20th, 30th minute versus Bayern, who is having one of the worst seasons in their history, clearly in second place to a Bayer Leverkusen side who is absolutely killing the Bundesliga right now. Bayern, who won 10 straight Bundesligas, an entire decade of victories, now set to not lift the trophy for the first time in a very long time, but still finding a way to take care of business in the Champions League regardless. Who deserves it more, man? Who deserves it more between these two teams? Because there is the history factor. There is the star factor. But when it comes to who's earned it, who's earned that semifinal spot, I think there's a clear answer.
I think so, and it's the answer I'll give definitively as to who will go on. I have Arsenal winning this tie. I really do. Bayern Munich, all season long, whereas they have been very good offensively, in the big matches, talking about against Bayer Leverkusen, low-key even Leipzig, and in the tricky ones against teams that show up against them in the Bundesliga, they can't figure it out. The games they used to grind and win by a goal margin, kind of like how Manchester City have been doing the last couple of years, those games Bayern Munich now lose or draw. They drop points. They don't win those games anymore. I see this match being pretty tight because there is a lot of offensive talent and Arsenal a little bit inexperienced. But in tight games, Bayern Munich have not proven themselves this year. They really haven't. And Arsenal aren't going to be like Lazio and just completely give in to Bayern Munich's pressure. They won't. It'll get tight. Bayern Munich will have their moments. They'll have spells of possession where they're just onslaughting Arsenal's defense. But Arsenal will figure it out. They have insane amount of quality in the midfield and the offensive line. And Bayern Munich, for me, it's just that inconsistency defensively when games are tight. I can't trust that. Arsenal are top of the Premier League table right now in a very competitive league. Bayern Munich are 10 points off of Leverkusen. Yeah. So I have Arsenal winning this, not by a large margin, but I have them beating Bayern Munich.
Damn, man, for me, it's on a knife edge right now. Like, it's so close.
It's going to be close.
Debated it in my mind so much, but I guess I'm joining you, my friend.
Let's go.
I'm joining you.
Let's go.
I'm going Arsenal, but under the criteria that they do this in the first game, they have to kill Bayern. At home, they have to kill them. Yeah. We saw what happened to Lazio getting a 1-0 victory. Tight, impressive for them for sure, but that's not enough against Bayern, especially when you have to go play the second leg at the Allianz Arena. And Bayern has been known to be just a ruthless team when they're against it, especially in the Champions League. Arsenal has to kill them. By that, I mean at least a 2-goal margin, and anything above that I think is an absolute win and sets them on the right path to getting through to the semifinals. That's the first thing. And the second reason for why I don't trust this Bayern Munich side, on top of everything that you just mentioned, which I think is very valid, is the presence of Dayot Upamecano. I think I'm starting to get very, very concerned regarding his center back play in these big matches, man. He's had mistake after mistake after mistake in big games for both club, but then also at the international level as well, man. We've seen it. And I just don't think I have the trust with him as what I do with Saliba, as what I do with Gabriel, and the pairing fullbacks as well. For me, that Upamecano situation just concerns me too much to be able to put to have a podcast where people watch what I say and to put my trust on that. I can't do it with Upamecano, man. I just can't. Not yet. If he's able to pull off a really good center back performance in this matchup, then that might even that'll actually convince me towards the other side of maybe starting to trust him a little bit more. But until I see it, man, I'm gonna bet against him, especially when the team going against you is a team that's as fiery, as deadly, and as active as Arsenal. A team that forces you to constantly make decisions defensively every 20 seconds, man, that they're on the ball, you have to be looking over your shoulder to see if there's any runs being made or if the player that you're defending doesn't pull off some crazy skill move, because the talent of this Arsenal offensive line is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. So for that reason, man, I'm going Arsenal. And I think the only thing that could stop them is just that historical factor, is that experience, is that idea of them being here for the first time and actually seeing a really tight matchup happening and maybe not living up to that expectation or that pressure, the pressure being too much. That's what I can see stopping Arsenal in this matchup. But talent-wise, I think Arsenal is clearly the better team.
I think so too. And just to comment on that Upamecano take that you had, completely agree. And ultimately, I'm just kind of disappointed in how his career's turned out at Bayern, because when he was at Leipzig, he was very mistake-prone as well, but he's so young. And I thought that going to Bayern from Leipzig, he would just show himself to be one of the best center backs in the world. But no, it's just who he is. He's a very mistake-prone center back, bro. It's actually kind of crazy, considering when you look at all the other top teams in Europe, you could probably say Upamecano is probably the worst center back out of all the top center backs at the top teams in Europe, which is, not good for Bayern. So much so that I think if Tuchel does this right, he should probably play Dyer or Kim Min-jae alongside De Ligt. Like I just wouldn't even play Upamecano, and I'll be really curious to see what Tuchel does there, because Tuchel knows he's playing one of the best offenses in Europe, in the world, in Arsenal. He can't mess around here.
And this is it for Tuchel, by the way.
This is it. And if he can't get a result here, then he'll end his tenure at Bayern with a little bit of respect, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot riding on this game for both Arsenal and Bayern. But just to end it with your exact take as well, I just really highly rate Arsenal's offense with the midfield and their combination with their offensive line, Martinelli or Trossard, Jesus or Kai Havertz, and then Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard operating underneath. Come on, man.
It's exciting. That's exciting,
very exciting. But I'll be really curious to see how this Arsenal team performs under the bright lights of Europe. This is really going to be an insane testament to what this team is made of. What I love, though, is I think Arteta knows this too. If there's a manager right now to trust and lead a young team like Arsenal, I actually would trust Arteta fully. So I'm really curious to see what his team talks have been the last couple of weeks, what it will be the week leading up to that first game in the Emirates. It's going to be nuts, man. I'm so excited for this tie. But I have Arsenal going through.